This is Her Confidence Her Way podcast, episode 42. Are you feeling not confident? Are you telling yourself, no, you're not good enough? You know you can do more. And you know you're better than who you are right now. Ladies, it's not time for you to give up on who you are. Welcome to Her Confidence Her Way podcast. I am Emiko Rasmussen, a confidence building coach and host of this podcast. Each week, I will bring you guests or lessons that will help you to break through your limiting beliefs, fears, and barriers so that you can start building your own confidence and do what you really want to do without worrying about someone else's opinion. We all have a gifted talent that no one can copy, and we're here to let our talent shine. So don't limit yourself. Are you ready to begin your confidence breakthrough journey and discover your true self? Let's go. Today's episode is brought to you by Audible.com. I love learning and I love reading about self-help, female leadership, and any professional development books. But I'm a mom of two, and I'm also a full-time working mom. And I got no time to sit down and enjoy some tea and read in a quiet room. Lucky me, I found Audible and I'm loving it. And I have been a user for over a year now. And I just cannot live without it now. You can listen to your favorite book during your commute, while you're cooking, cleaning, or folding your laundry at home, or even while you're working out. For you, yes you, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to get you the opportunity to check out their service. Get a free Audible download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/therealglobalvoice, or you can go to my website and click on the Audible 30 days trial. I love free stuff and you should definitely try it. Hey ladies, welcome back to the another episode of Her Confidence Her Way. My name is Emiko Rasmussen and I am your host. For those who are listening to this episode for the very first time, welcome and thank you so much for finding this episode. If you really like this episode, please go back and listen to all the rest of the episodes that you haven't even listened. And make sure to subscribe to this show so that way you're automatically being downloaded to your phone. And for those who are listening to this episode every week, I really appreciate your time and thank you so much. Okay, so I have recently did a little bit of kind of like statistics check on how many people are listening and where people are listening from. And I was very surprised that there are a lot of people from Japan are actually listening. So yay, it's really nice because it's part of my true mission, like a personal mission, is to really connect Japan and US, outside of the world, especially US. So, and I want to be the bridge. So it's really nice to know that there are people from Japan that are listening. So hello. Okay, so since there are a lot of people who are listening from Japan, so I kind of wanted to share what is going on for this month. For those who know me for a while, you know this, but I'm a mom of two, and being part of school is so important for me. That's because my own mom, my mother, was the one who were always there for me when I was a student. I thought that sometimes it was kind of embarrassing that my mom is always the first one to come to Jugyo Sankan, the parents' participation day. So like, oh mom, she's always number one. It's so embarrassing, but you know, it's so nice because there are some kids, they don't even have the parents, you know, who can come to those Jugyo Sankan. And to that note, I kind of get to do my dream come true. It sounds weird maybe for you, but because I am living in US, I thought that I would, this is my dog, so if you hear this little ding ding ding, that noise, it's from my dog. Anyways, go back. So since I'm living in US. So I thought that I would never ever have an opportunity to go to my daughter's parents' participation day or Jugyo-sankan in Japan, right? No, actually that dream came true the last September when I went to Japan. I registered or enrolled my daughter to the elementary school where I attended, and there was a day, Jugyo Sankan Day, happened to be in September. So I was like, yay! So I had this like name tag that I get to bring, and I was watching my daughter and listening to this book. I forget the English subtitle, but Okina Kabu. So it was so cute, and of course I get too teary all the time. I cry all the time, so I wanted to cry, but that'd be so embarrassing, right? I was like, Mom, come on. So anyway, so this week is I don't want to say each every month, but certain month or certain weeks, the school district decide to kind of promote things. So for example, for those who have kids in US, maybe your school district is already, or maybe they're doing it at the same time. So this week is called Red Ribbon Week. And Red Ribbon Week is, I had no idea what that is. So obviously I have to kind of learn what it is because everything that I'm going through is all new. So I'm experienced mom, but I'm a brand new mom for elementary kids. So Red Ribbon Week is to really just to fight for a drug-free environment. So it's very different, right? I mean, when I was in Japan, I have never ever really heard of drug when I was an elementary kid. So I thought that it might be too early to introduce this concept. I don't know, what do you think? But anyway, so, my daughter has no idea what that drug-free means because obviously we're the drug-clean family, and we will for sure. And so my daughter does not have any idea, but for that week, so for this week, they have every day there's a theme or spirit day. So Monday was start with strong day, so they all wear, the school asked us to wear red t-shirt. So obviously my daughter wore a red t-shirt to school, and red happened to be the school color. So luckily I had a red t-shirt for the school, the school t-shirt. So that was perfect. And Tuesday was use your head, not drag. So do some crazy hair, or wear a crazy hat. And my daughter just did the bob cut when we're in Japan. It's cheaper to get a haircut in Japan, by the way, because we don't have to tip. And I think there are competitions over there. So I get the 1000 yen cut from from local, like a little shopping center. So she has the mae sagari no bob cut. So the back is so short. So I'm like, Haley, I don't know what I can do. So I tried my best. So I did that. And there are lots of crazy haired, lots of crazy hairstyles I saw. So it was fun. And today, the Wednesday, was Friends Don't Let Friends Do Drugs. So dress up as friend twin day. Oh man, that was a lot of work. I had to coordinate with the other moms, and my daughter ended up wearing the same dress, matching dress with the BFF necklace. It's like, oh my gosh, and like the hair and the shoes, and it's a lot, but it's pretty fun. And then Thursday, I am too smart to start. So dress up in your best nerd attire. This, which I don't really like. This like smart equal nerd. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure about it. But anyway, so then the Friday is like it's before the Halloween, so we can do my character count. So dress up as your favorite book character, and they're gonna do a parade. So costume. Everybody will wear a costume for Halloween, and they will do like the flag salute, and then they do a character parade during the morning lineup. So it's like a what is it? 早朝会? No, 朝礼会. So type of things. So yeah, a fun week, right? So every morning I get to do something. That means I have to wake up extra early to make sure that everything's all set. Yep, so all the moms out there who are kind of going through similar weeks, kudos to you guys as well. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic, shall we? So today, as I promised, I am going to talk about the difference between intercultural and cross-cultural. And this is kind of like the extension of the conversation where, the previous episode, I talked about two different type of lenses. So if you haven't checked the episode 41, you may want to go back so that it may make sense. But if you are just listening 42 and you're too lazy to switch, that's fine too. Maybe you can listen to 41 later and then you can kind of like connect the dot as well. So don't worry too much. So here you go. I'm just going to explain the difference because as I told you, I had to look up and really understand what's the difference because it sounds so similar, intercultural and cross-cultural. And this meaning or the explanation, it came from springinstitute.org. So this is something that I completely just took from someone else's website, so I'm quoting, like air quoting, and I will make sure to put the website so that way if you want to learn more about it, you can go back and refer their organization's website and the resources that they have provided. So cross-cultural deals with the comparison of different cultures. In cross-cultural communication, differences are understood and acknowledged and can bring about individual change, but not collective transformations. In cross-cultural societies, one culture is often considered the norm, and all the other cultures are compared or contrasted to the dominant culture. So that's cross-cultural. I hope you kind of get the idea. Right? It's like the comparing, and it's not really intercultural just yet. And so I'm just going to explain the intercultural one, and then it will totally make sense. So intercultural describes communities in which there is a deep understanding and respect for all cultures. Intercultural communication focuses on the mutual exchange of idea and cultural norms and the development of deep relationships. In an intercultural society, no one is left unchanged because everyone learns from one another and grows together. Get it? So what you want to achieve is really the intercultural, right? I kind of want to say, for example, my work, I am in a cross-cultural working environment because my company itself isn't necessarily a global or intercultural company because we don't necessarily have different companies or the branch in the different countries. However, we do serve students from different countries all over the world or people from different cultural backgrounds. And even there are, I don't really like the term, but immigrants who are working for the company that I work for, like me, obviously legally. So I kind of want to say, I try to do intercultural communication where I try to understand from the different perspective, and I adjust and I change my communication styles, which this is something that I had to really learn it. And it is very difficult to do, especially a country like Japan is more like a cross-cultural, right? So Japan is the norm, the Japanese culture or the value is the norm, and those who are living or not living, coming from different countries, they are the one who kind of have to adjust and adopt. And I'm the opposite, where American culture, the value is the norm, right? So the company itself is very, It's an American corporate company. So I don't expect anyone to understand about my cultural value. It would be nice. Then that would be intercultural, right? But I don't expect anyone to know that I am, well, maybe from Japan. Obviously it would be nice that they understand I'm from Japan, and maybe they will know because of my accent or English, but I'm showing who I am, but I'm not expecting them to do the same for me. So that's the biggest thing, that if you are living in a different countries, you cannot expect other people to understand and adjust the cultural value, the communication style for you. You have to do that to be able to survive pretty much. So yes, when you want to achieve is really intercultural communication where everybody understands one another and grow together. I like the way how this organization, the Spring Institute, put it, right? But this always does not happen. Doesn't happen. Right? So the reason why is obviously each individual hold different types of values. So people from Japan, like me, like you, we all have our cultural values, especially because culture shapes our lives, right? Culture is the basic of how we think, how we eat, how we dress, and everything. And people, so I think if you are in a situation where you're communicating with people from different countries, different cultural background, people experience the cross-cultural situation first, right? So like, for example, me, at my company, I'm the minority, and like I said, it is up to me. So especially so in the business environment, or even just living in the United States, one of the significant value that I notice, and those people who are living in US may notice or experienced already, is the individualism versus collectivism. And this is one of the biggest one. And my major was social science and minored in communication, or the second major was the communication. So I have taken lots of different type of communication, like gender communication and intercultural communication was one of them, and I really loved the class. I still remember the teacher's name. Her name is Dreama Moon. Instructor Dreama Moon. Interesting name. Anyway, so definitely this is something that we learned, and I noticed a lot. I experienced a lot. So obviously, and I hope you know this, we as Japanese value harmony, right? The heiwa no wa, right? So have you ever thought about where that came from? I have never thought about it until I read this book. I did not bring the book with me, so I have to put the book name in the show note. But I read this book, and it's all about the Japanese cultural value versus pretty much it's like outside. So because our country was developed out of an agricultural society, what does that mean? That means agricultural society, that means we work together. So our ancestors, they work together, and they have to do something for the needs of the village. That was the important things than the individual needs. Right? So you might already heard this proverb as well. The nail that sticks out shall be hammered down. That means if you're trying to stick out or stand out, then you get hammered down, because the harmony is so important. Your individual need is not that important. And on the other side, on the other hand, the countries like US, which values individual need, is a individualism society, right? So historically, they are the hunter or the immigrant. Obviously, the U.S. is the country where I know there is a term called melting pot, but many people immigrated. So their effort or the action is very individual focus, right? So that's why there's the individual initiative. So we society versus they, or the US is the I society, and they really focus on freedom, independence, self-goal driven. So there is a very famous proverb. So I just talked about the Japanese one, and then the American proverb is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. What does this mean? So the squeaky wheel makes a big, like really, really loud noise, right? So then when you hear that, then you give oil. So what does that mean? Is that noticeable or the loudest problems or the person or the one most likely to get attention? So there are a huge difference. Just this individualism versus the collectivism itself. Right? So these two itself really plays a big role, and it affects so many, like how you work and how you communicate. For example, let me share. I have a lot of stories that I want to share, but I'm just gonna do a few that really ties into this collectivism versus individualism, where I really faced the wall, the cultural difference wall, and I struggled a lot. So one of the biggest one was the self-promoting or the self-promotion. Oh my gosh, this was very, very, very hard for me to understand at first. I was like, why are those people just showing off? But this was because of the cultural value. I had to understand it, but then I felt it was so annoying. So sending emails to people and copying boss, sending an email to the team and copying boss, and telling the team how great job he or she did. Or if the person receives a thank you email from a student who he or she helped, or even thank you email from the coworkers from different department, American people, quote unquote, but I don't want to say not everybody, because certain type of people, they don't like attentions. So I'm not going to say everyone, but many of people, the native people or the local people, they would forward that email to the team and make sure they are copying their supervisor, immediate manager, supervisor. Yep, they do that to really show that they're doing a good job. And when I was a manager, I really appreciated that, because so that I know how great she did. So easy. Otherwise, if the person is not doing it, then I have to dig. And of course, I adapted the culture really quickly, and I did the same, where I really focused on the individual. Of course, when the team did a really good job, I give a credit to the whole entire team. And I make sure that if someone was trying to steal the credit, I make sure that I'm involving everybody. But if the individual did a good job, and I made sure to give a recognition, like I talked about it, right, from the previous episode, but I did that. So it was a very different way of doing it. So the difference is like giving recognition versus you are doing your self-promotion or the recognition. So that's a difference. So that was that. And of course, in the meeting, telling their ideas in the meeting freely was something that I also struggled, because I thought that, what if I said something and everybody disagreed? Then that's embarrassing, right? Disagreement. I was scared for disagreement, really. But in US or the culture where they focus on individualism, they don't care if people agree or not, but really the participation and the contribution. So if the person may say A, and then later on through the group effort that they decided to do B, but they may, some of the idea from A is something that they like it. So then at the end they do B, but then they kind of add the stuff that the person said from the idea A and maybe collaborate or something. So, it worked. Somehow it worked out. But that was the biggest thing. And yeah, disagreement in front of people was kind of hard. So I was always the quiet one. I wasn't the one who said something the very beginning in the meeting. But I have learned from Lean In and the other woman, the power woman, that I have a lunch meeting and I do woman at work kind of series. And I have learned that if you're a woman who are trying to move up, or not necessarily just move up, but do a good job, you want to be the person. You don't have to be the first person, but you want to be the second or the third person, so people will still remember you. So yeah, sometimes I can't, if I don't have a big, gut to say something at the beginning, I may just add on the second turn or the third. And the same topic in the meeting, saying yes, even if it was really obvious that everyone is agreeing, that was something that I had to learn as well. So in the meeting, somebody said, okay, so we are going to do X, Y, and Z. In Japan, we obviously do this thing called kuki or yomu, right? So we don't have to say anything. But here in US, even if it looks like everybody's agreeing, you still want to say, yes, I really like that idea, or you kind of add on to things, and oh my gosh, yeah, I learned that too. Otherwise, people think that I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, so yeah, you can read kuki or yonde, plus you still have to say yes. I mean, not obviously not all the meetings, but you can have to kuki or yom, right? That's one of the great things that we have as Japanese. So, and the interview, oh my goodness, interview is the other part where I struggle a lot. So I started as a coordinator level, so that was the individual contributor, and then for my company, we had a position where it goes coordinator, became a lead, so it's like a team leader, and then we have a layer of manager, and then we have like associate director and director, and then you go to the top, and then the VP, and then so on and so forth. Anyway, so from coordinator to a lead, so there was a lead position open. I had never ever thought that I can be a leader of the team. I never thought that I am good enough to lead the team. Obviously, obvious reason was because my English is not good enough. So who would really understand me, right? Because I can't speak this quote-unquote perfect English. And a self-confidence issue where like I'm not smart enough, I haven't experienced enough, and all those negative thoughts. So I didn't really believe myself. But then one day, of course, my mentor, or at the time she wasn't really my mentor, but she later became a mentor, but she was always investing in me, and I had no idea. But she said, Amy, you do have this leadership quality. Leaders, you don't have to lead from the top or the front. There are so many different ways to lead. I was like, what? Excuse me? Did you just call me I'm a leader? I have a leadership quality? What? Right? So I was very lucky enough to have someone who would really look out for me and bring my greatness and the strengths and everything. So I had a gut to apply for a position. it was very hard for me to talk about how great I am, and so at the end, I didn't get the position. I didn't get the promotion. And I was very sad, especially this other person who worked less than me got the position. I think this was part of me, having the Japanese mindset where people like have a seniority type of things. I think that was part of the reason why I was more upset. But in US, I'm not going to say all the companies, but many companies, seniority is not that important. It's the competencies. So one day, this person is working under the manager, but then one day, this person's competency is recognized, and then this person became a manager and leading this person type of thing. So it happens. So obviously, seniority does not matter. I mean, in fact, two of my people, because I'm not in a managing position anymore, I stepped down because I needed to have a flexibility. So now the person who I invested and helped her to become the manager, she is now a director, and the other person who coached, and she is now a manager. So there you go. It happens all the time. So you really cannot rely on the seniority, especially for the American corporate. Like I said, because the company is very focusing on the individual, right? So you have to really show whoever the person who shows the initiative, the success, those are the ones who get the recognition. So going back to the promotion. So why didn't I get it? I was told, so after I got the news that I didn't get a job, I asked the manager why I did not get a job. And she told me that that's because I was too reserved. And she especially pointed out this conversation. When she gave me a call, she called me and told me that I passed my first interview, so I'm going for a second interview. And when I got the second interview, I think I talked too much. And I told her, like, wow, thank you so much. I'm still learning, and I'm, the Japanese, 私はまだこんなんなんですけれども、もっともっと頑張っていきたい, like that type of things in English. So she thought that I wasn't ready, and the other person is ready. So, I have so many other examples that I want to share, and if I keep sharing, then, this episode will be like 2 hours, 3 hours, so I will end. But of course, I will share more of these examples throughout my podcast. But yes, so the individualism and collectivism really plays a big role. So the difference, for example, the difference in the meeting. So Japanese meeting, in the Japanese meeting, at the end, if somebody says, do you have any questions? It's silence. The silence is the golden. Versus in the American meeting, do you have any questions? Whoa, a bunch of hands up. I was like, oh my gosh, there is a difference. And I am the type of person who now asks questions or leave a comment because I want to make sure that I am standing up, part of the self-promotion and everything. It's very important. I am not saying you should do it immediately, but I think it's important that you practice slowly in a small setting first, right? You got to do it somewhere. Otherwise, you're never going to break the habit. So I'm so used to it nowadays because I believe that whatever the question that I have, somebody else might have one anyways. If not, then that's great. At least I get the answer anyways. So that mentality. Okay, so that's a huge difference, right? So 3 lesson points here. The first one is really understand who you are and understand the cultural value. For me, long time ago, as I was starting my career, this little poor Emiko had no idea how to adjust and adapt. So I was still focusing on the Japanese value and didn't really it wasn't really successful. And that brings the point number 2. Please know that there is no right or wrong cultural value. So maybe I hope I didn't really sound this way, but this whole entire time I was talking about this, I am not saying this Japanese cultural value is wrong. It is just that because I wasn't really understanding the dynamic of the current company that I am working for, so I wasn't able to shift my cultural value well, and that's why I wasn't really successful and I struggled the most. So that's the point. So if you are coming from a Western culture or the culture where the individualism is, Individualism is their focus. Then going to Japan and working, and obviously those people, they need to do the same like I did. You have to adjust. So it's like here goes the glasses number 1 and number 2. So you have to be able to remove your glasses number 1 and wear the different type of glasses and really see yourself. So please know that I'm not saying which cultural value is right or wrong. It's just that you have to know which one you have to play. With that said, and that's going to relate, so use your strengths. So for example, this cultural value of our beautiful culture, or the cultural virtue, harmony is so valuable for any situation, both personal and professional occasion. So I want you to use that as well. So you have to really know your strengths, right? And for example, for me, I use my strengths of harmony and the group and bring the groups together. And I'm a type of person to feel the audience at ease, and I maintain the healthy communication because I have that cultural value. I don't cause a lot of drama, the cat fight or any type. And of course, you cannot avoid conflict, and you need to disagree when it is needed. But at the end of the day, for example, my company is where we really focus on the teamwork, and I bring my team together. So at the end, although harmony is part of the collectivism value, but I still use it because that's important. Especially as a leader, that I need to make sure that everybody is, maybe not everybody can agree on one, but if there's one person who did not agree, I go back and make sure that how this person's feeling and how I can make sure that I can buy into the project or the goal or whatever that is. So that way this one person is not left behind from the team. Okay, so that is the whole lesson. I hope it made sense and you have learned something from this. As I always tell you, knowing your strengths is so important. Especially your gifted talent is so unique. And I explain what it is, that the difference between our strengths versus the gifted talent in the new free gifted talent discovery worksheet. So make sure to sign up and get your own. And knowing your gifted talent is part of the formula that I teach for my students for the confidence building. So if you do not know what it is, you're gonna follow my path where I struggled so much that I really lost my confidence, and I don't want you to go through that path. So I'm telling you, make sure you download the free worksheet to discover your gifted talent. Because when I was in the darkness, I was just trying to be like them, not myself. And I think this is where many people struggle, because we're not really using our the confidence, the muscle of the confidence. So please download, please sign up and get your own worksheet. So that is your first step, okay? And next week, I have so this is the last episode of my solo episode, and I am going to go back to the interview episode. So I have a great guest ready for you, and she is an executive coach, and she's also a trainer, especially focuses on the intercultural company. So definitely it is going to be aligned with what I have been talking about, and I cannot wait to share. So until then, have a wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next episode. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today. Make sure to subscribe to Her Confidence, Her Way podcast and leave a review, which will help this podcast to be more visible so that other women can find this podcast easily. For free monthly newsletter, free private Her Confidence, Her Way community, and learn how you can get free weekly lesson to help you build your self-confidence, go to www.theemmystyle.com. Ladies, you don't need a permission from someone else to believe yourself. Just be you, because you are amazing. Let's support each other and keep on building your confidence.